Alrighty, well, good morning. We will start on our bottoms in our easy seated position, just a little crisscross applesauce. Wiggle around until you can feel those sitting bones pressing in to the earth, and then begin to expand in the belly as we inhale, pressing that diaphragm down, opening up in the lungs. Exhale, feel the tension melt away from our shoulders, out of our necks. And bringing our thoughts inward so that we can give ourselves the attention that we need for this time as we practice. Making sure that we're always listening to what our body is telling us, whether it's asking for something or maybe pressing the brakes on things. We just need to make sure that we are aware of what our body is asking for or needs as we practice. Good, and we'll just keep our hands on our knees or our thighs. Give those shoulders a bit of a wiggle. Inhale, let's raise them up into our earlobes. And then exhale, drop them. Lengthen in the neck. And then we'll just slowly lower our ear over to one side. Take some very big, purposeful exhales as we let the shoulders move away. Let the head just naturally fall to the side. One more inhale here. And then exhale, we'll just lower the chin slowly down to our chest in the center. Take a couple of breaths here. Make sure that we are keeping our back straight and we're just bending at the top of our spine and the cervical spine. Let the head hang. On our next inhale, we'll slowly lift the chin up off of the chest. Lengthen in that neck. Exhale. Let's move the ear over to the other shoulder. Again, using those breaths. Surrender to gravity. Let the shoulders move down. Let the head move down. Then we'll take one more inhale here. And then again, exhale. Just let the head droop down to the center toward our chest. 2 breaths here. Good. And then on our next inhale, lifting the chin. Nice tall spine. Let's inhale, lift the hands up to the sky. And then exhale, we'll just tilt over to the left. We can lower that left hand down to the mat, reaching up and over with the right. Good. And then slowly, let's lower that right hand down to meet the left over here by the left thigh. Little twist here. And let's walk those hands around to the center into a bit of a fold. And then slowly, let's walk those hands back, rolling our way all the way up to the top. Next inhale, hands come up high. And then exhale, we'll go over to the right. Good. And then next exhale, let's lower the left hand down. We'll meet the right over here by this right thigh. And then slowly, let's walk those hands around, keeping our chests low, folding forward here. Good. And then let's creepy crawl those fingers forward. We'll roll over the shins. We'll find ourselves in our tabletop. Hands and knees are underneath of our joints. Breathing into the belly. Let's do a couple of cats and cows here. As we exhale, let's round, lifting our back up to the sky, making ourselves into that big scared Halloween kitty cat. And then inhale, dropping the tummy, lifting the heart. For cow. Exhaling cat. And inhaling cow. Good. One more time. Exhaling cat. Inhaling cow. And then finding that neutral spine again, breathing into the tummy. Inhale, let's reach out that right hand and press back the left foot. Good. Keeping our backs nice and straight as we reach and press. One more breath here. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, let's reach back with that right hand. Bend the knee and see if we can find the toe or the ankle with our hand. Connecting and bringing the tension into our hand with our foot to help pull the shoulder back, lift the foot. But let's turn those hips back down to the mat, toward the mat. Gently we'll release. One more reach here. And then down to our mats, to our neutral spine. When we're ready, inhaling, left hand and the right foot will come out. Continuing to reach with those fingers, pressing with the heel. Active belly, active in our sides, supporting the whole spine, not just the top or in the middle. We got to support that low back as well. Good. One more inhale here, reaching long, and then exhale, we'll reach back, find the toes or the ankles. Good. Releasing. One more. Stretch out. And then exhale down to our mat. Let's do one cat and one cow. And we'll meet at our neutral spine here. We'll walk the hands out just a little bit further. We'll reach that right foot back behind us and come all the way forward toward the top of our mat to the outside of this right hand here. We'll find ourselves in lizard pose or a little lunge. Wiggle our way into it, sinking those hips down, pressing into the mat with our hands to lift the heart. And then let's think about tucking that tail to keep the back nice and flat. Good. And now as we exhale, let's walk those hands back. We'll bring the hips over this left knee. Right toes will point up to the sky. We can bring our hands to this thigh or to the shin. Our noses are working towards our toeses. Beautiful. Let's inhale. Hands will come forward to the mat here on the inside of that right foot. And then from here, let's lift up the right hand for a little spinal twist. And then exhale, back down, step back with that right foot, back into this modified tabletop. And then when we're ready, we'll reach out that left leg back behind us. And then we'll step it all the way forward into our lizard on this side. As always, Take that time to wiggle in and settle into the pose. Feel where we're at on this side today. Inhale here, and then exhale. We'll work our way backwards into our half split. Good. Inhale. Let's bring ourselves forward back into our lizard. Hands find the mat. And then inhale. We'll lift up that left hand for a little spinal twist here. And then exhale. We'll come back down. We'll step back with that left foot and we'll bring those hips all the way back to our heels. Finding child's pose here for a breath or two. And from here, let's tuck those toes underneath of our butts. Stretch out the toes and the arches and the ankles, pressing into our hands, pushing the hips back, pulling the shoulders away from our ears, away from our wrists. Breathing into our bellies, press into those toes, lifting the hips up toward the sky, bending the knees, lengthening in the spine. Shoulder blades are moving together and then down or up towards our keister. Good. Let's lift up that right leg. And we'll slowly step forward in between our hands into a lunge. Lunge can be on our toe here for a full lunge, but if we ever need to, we can always drop the knee for a modification, and there is no love lost or weakness shown when we modify or use props. Good, and now from here, we will gently bend that left knee. We'll round in our spine as we exhale. And then inhale, little lengthen in this right leg as well as in the left. It doesn't have to go full straight. And then we'll do a tiny arch in the spine as we look forward. Exhale, bending those knees, rounding in the back. Inhale, little length, little arch. Exhale, we round. Inhale, lengthen, and then we'll just find that lunge again here. Good, let's lift the hands up. Let's turn to the right, sink down into the lunge, keep our shoulders over the hips, As we bring that right hand back behind us, left hand reaches out in front. Good, and then inhale back to the center. And then hands can come down. We'll step back with that right foot into a downward facing dog. Let's inhale forward into a plank. This is our first plank of our practice, so it can go on our toes or on our knees. Exhale, shoulders will go forward, elbows will go back. We slowly lower ourselves down. Pressing into those hands, we can do a cobra or come up to upward facing dog. Let's tuck those toes, lift our butts, press back for downward facing dog. Good. From here, keeping our hands and feet pressing into our mats. We're going to shift the weight from our right hand into our left so that we can reach back and touch the outside of our left leg. It could be the thigh or the shin or toward those toes. And then slowly we'll come back downward facing dog, redistribute. And then over to that right hand, all of the weight goes. Left hand reaches back to find that right leg in some form or fashion. And back to the center, downward facing dog. Let's lift up the left leg, three-legged dog. Bring that foot forward, stepping in toward the top of our mat into our lunge. Wiggle our way into it, settle down. And then cats and cows here. So exhale, we'll lower that left knee as we bend. Bring our chin in toward our chest. And then inhale, we'll lengthen, looking forward into a little tiny arch in our back. And then exhale, we'll round. And inhale, we'll lengthen. Exhaling. And inhaling. And exhaling. Let's do one more inhale, lengthen, little arch or flat back. And then we'll just find that lunge again. Getting ourselves balanced, hands can come up high. And then exhale, twisting to the left. Good, back to the center. And then exhale, hands come back down to the mat, stepping back, downward facing dog. Let's inhale forward into a plank. Lower down. Hands are underneath of our shoulders. We can inhale to an upward facing dog or into a little cobra here, whatever your back or your mind is most comfortable with. We'll tuck those toes, press back, find our downward facing dog again. Good, and now let's walk those hands backwards towards our toes. Gently bend those knees. Find a fold here. Inhale. Let's lengthen those legs. looking forward. Hands can find the shins or our toes for a half lift. Exhale, we'll fold forward. Bending the knees, rounding as we inhale all the way up to the sky. Good. And then let's bring those hands together at our hearts, shifting our weight over to our left foot. Let's lift the right up towards our chest. Keeping that balance as best we can. If the foot can't stay that high, then we come down. Maybe use the little toe to help with our balance. Lengthening in that back, opening up the chest, pulling the shoulders back. Let's take our right hand and touch the right hip. Left hand will touch the knee out here out in front. As we exhale, we're just going to turn to the right into a balancing twist. When we're here, we find where we're comfortable. If this is where we're at today, I can't get balanced. If this is where we're at today, then we stay here. If we would like, we can open up that right hand, much like we did when we were in our lunge. We can open up the left hand. We can extend the leg or not do any of it. Good, let's slowly come back to the center. Knee is still in towards our chest, and we're just going to take a half of a step forward and work our way in to warrior one. Bending this right knee, pulling the left hip forward. Hands can stay to our hearts. Good, let's lengthen that right leg. Hinge at the hips. We can slowly lower ourselves down into pyramid pose from here. If we're happy here, we stay here. If we would like to challenge ourselves a little bit, our left hand can find the floor or a block. Right hand reaches up toward the sky. Good. Slowly, let's lower those hands down. We'll bend the right knee so that we can find the mat with our hands. We'll step back for downward facing dog. Pedal it out if we need. Let's inhale forward to a plank. Flow through our vinyasa. Exhale, we lower down. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Tuck the toes, press back for downward facing dog. Good, let's lift up that right leg again. And we'll bring the knee into our chest. Hover forward into our plank and we'll set ourselves up for pigeon. It will be a short pigeon, but pigeon nonetheless. We'll lower that knee down behind the right wrist. We'll soften the left leg back behind us. And we'll just stay here on our hands because we will only be here for about 3 to 5 breaths. Good, let's tuck that left toe, press into the hand, step back, downward facing dog. And now let's walk those hands backwards towards our feet for a fold. Inhale to a flat back. fold a little bit more. Then we'll soften the knees round as we rise up to the top, reaching the fingers to the sky. And then we'll bring the hands together at our hearts, pressing into those palms, lifting the heart, shifting the weight over to that right foot now so that we can lift up the left. And then when we're ready, we can take that left hand to our hip, right hand goes to the knee, lengthen on the inhale, exhale, we twist to the left. Pressing in, actively into that right foot, lifting out of that right hip, breathing into the belly. So much stuff always going on, finding the version of the pose that we would like to work on today, opening up the hands if we would like, lengthening in the leg if we would like, twisting, even use those fingers to hold on to the toe. Beautiful. Let's gently release back to the center. Left foot is still up off of the ground until we step forward and work our way into warrior one. Bending that left knee, pulling the right hip forward so both hips are facing in the same direction. Hands can still press in together at our hearts. Good, and now let's lengthen in that left leg. Both feet are pressing very, very firmly into our mats and then hinging at the hips, bringing the chest forward. We lower down into our version of pyramid. And if we're happy where we're at, we stay for a few more breaths. We would like to challenge a little bit further. We leave that right hand on the floor on our block. Left hand comes up to the sky. Good, let's gently come down. We can bend that left knee, hands find our mats. We'll step back for a downward facing dog here. Inhale forward, flow through our vinyasa. Exhale down. Inhale, open up that heart. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Press back for downward facing dog. And now let's lift up that left leg again. Stretch it on back there behind us. And then we'll bend the knee, bring it in toward our chest, hovering forward in that plank for just a little bit. And then we'll set ourselves up for pigeon on this side, lowering the knee behind that left wrist, flexing the foot, and then softening the right leg behind us. Good. Let's press into those hands. We'll tuck the right foot, step back into our downward facing dog. Pedal those feet, lengthen in the spine. Good. Let's lift up our right leg. We'll step forward into our lunge ever so briefly, lifting our hands up, and we'll turn to the left, opening ourselves up wide. Good. And now let's bring those hands to our hearts. We'll bend the left knee, and we'll sit over here by the left heel or calf. Toes can come up on the right side. Good. Inhale back up to the center, and then exhale over to the right. Lifting the heart, lowering the butt. Good. Inhale back up. And now slowly we'll just bend those knees, sit down into a wide-legged squat here. Good. Inhale, let's lengthen and lift. And exhale, we'll sit down. Good. One more time. Inhale, lengthen and lift. And now exhale, let's fold forward, hinging at our hips. Chest will come forward. Hands can come down. We can even walk them back behind us as we drop our head. And keeping the weight in our toes so that our hips stay over our ankles. Good. And then slowly bring those hands underneath of our shoulders. We'll bend the knees. Inhale, hands come all the way up for star pose again. Good. Hands can come down to our hearts. And then gently wiggle heel toe, bringing those feet in. A little bit closer, a little bit wider than our hips. And then we'll just do a Melasana Squat here, lowering our butts down as low as we can go. Again, with the support of the wall or a block is completely acceptable. Good, and then more hands can come down to our mats. We can lower ourselves down onto our bottoms and find ourselves in our comfortable seated position again for a couple more shoulder stretches before we lay down on our mats. So we'll take those arms, we'll reach out in front of us like somebody has something for us. And we'll take this left hand, we'll reach it over the top, cross it elbow to elbow over that right arm. And then see if we can twist them all up so that our palms face each other. We don't want those hands in our faces, so we'll move the hands away. Relax those shoulders as best we can. And we take a few breaths. Maybe we begin to lift the elbows a little bit higher. But we have to not sacrifice our calm shoulders as we do that. Keeping the shoulders away from our ears. And then we'll release, wiggle out those fingers, and then we'll just bring those arms back behind us. See if we can touch the elbows with our fingers. Lift the heart. Beautiful. Releasing the hands. Bringing them out in front of us again, reaching out in front, and now we'll take the right arm, cross it over the left, and then twist them up again in our eagle arms here. Breathe our way into this. If we can't get our palms all the way, we do our best. Maybe we hook our thumb and our pinky. Maybe we put the backs of our palms together and this is where we're at today, or the back of our hands together, this is where we're at today. But we're doing our best to get those arms together and twist it around wherever we're at. Excellent. Let's release those arms. Wiggle out the fingers if we need, and we'll take them back behind us, pulling those shoulders back. See if we can find the elbows with our hands. And we'll release the arms. Just give ourselves a gentle hug. You drop the head. We'll uncross our legs. We'll bring our knees into our chest. We'll include those knees into our hug. Roll onto our backs. Good. And then we'll release the legs, keeping the knees bent. Arms and shoulders and head can relax onto our mats. And then we did our eagle arms, so now we'll do our eagle legs. So we'll take that left leg, cross it knee to knee, and then see if we can wrap our toes around our calf. But if not, we're just going to get them close. From here, we take a big deep inhale, and then exhale, we'll move those knees over to the right. Do a little eagle twist here. And let's release those legs back to the center. We'll untangle them, give them a little shake and a wiggle if we would like. And then when we're ready, we'll cross the right over the left. Bring those feet close together. If we can't wrap around, take a big inhale here, and then exhale. We'll just drop them over to the left. Exhale, let both shoulders melt into our mat. Inhale, bring those knees back to the center. We'll unwind, give ourselves a bit of a wiggle here. We'll bring our knees into our chest. Roll up into that little egg. One more deep inhale here. And then exhale, let's release everything down to our mats for Shavasana. Close our eyes. We allow ourselves this time to just be still. When we're ready, deepen our breath. We begin some gentle movement in our fingers and our toes. We bring awareness into our body. And when it's time, we'll bring our knees into our chest. And we'll roll over onto our side. And then we'll help ourselves up to seated. Let's inhale, lift our hands up to the sky. Bring them together once we reach the top. And we'll exhale them down to our hearts with a purpose. Thank you so much for joining me today, for allowing me to help you through your practice. I wish you a very, very happy day and urge you, as we deal with the outside world, with other people, and definitely with ourselves, we err on the side of kindness. There's no better gift than having an open heart and an open mind. The light and the divine in me recognizes and respects the light and the divine in each of you. And when we are together, whether physically or virtually, we are one. Namaste.